Hello, you're welcome again to another Bonfire edition of the program today, where we look at the top five matches to watch out for in Europe this weekend. Of course, we know that the international break for the year has just been rounded up on Tuesday with teams qualifying for the World Cup and the other teams also playing tune-up games, especially for the hosts of the World Cup in 2026. And a lot of Nigerian fans are not happy, we know, but the club football is back, and some of us would probably find excitement in club football. And I know you can't wait. I know you're ready for the return of the European football. There's going to be action all around Europe, starting from the Premier League, starting from the Italian Serie A, French Ligue 1, and there is a whole lot of them, German Bundesliga, and a lot of them. But today we are looking at the top five matches that you want to watch, a must watch for you this weekend. It's a weekend of derbies. There's the North London derby, there's also the Italian Milan derby in Italy. But we are going to be starting with none other than the Gunners. They have been on a good run of form this season. They've been firing on all cylinders. The Gunners have been imperious this season, especially defensively. They've become the wall of Gibraltar. Difficult to break them down, difficult for them to score. They consider the first two goals of the season in their last game against Sunderland. Sunderland, we know that also been enjoying a good fairy tale run in the Premier League. They've been enjoying something good run of form in the Premier League. But we are starting with Arsenal versus Tottenham. A London derby, it promises to be electric, it promises to be interesting. Both sides, when it comes to derby games, it's not always the same thing with normal games. Players are pumped up, fans are pumped up, everybody wants to win their game. It's also a bargain right for the players, for the fans especially. Arsenal Tottenham, we all know that it's been a long-term rivalry. Both teams don't want to see each other eyeball to eyeball, but the Gunners have enjoyed some sort of good fortune in the last five games in the London derby. They've won their last five games against Tottenham. That's the longest winning streak in the London derby. Will the Gunners be able to continue same run of form against a Tottenham side who have been blowing hot and cold? They started the season well, impressive, especially with the appointment of Thomas Frank, who I respect so much. They started doing well in the first few games of the season, but Tottenham being Tottenham, they've started struggling again. They lost against Chelsea. I think they are going on a bad run of form, especially at home. But this time, they're going to be playing at the MA Stadium. Maybe a little bit of pressure will be off them, and they will be willing to show the world that, okay, when it comes to derby games, we are not a pushover. If they are a pushover or not, we're going to be seeing that this weekend. But let me let you know that the Gunners have enjoyed a good winning run against their rivals. Arsenal are leading the log, while Tottenham are in the fifth position. It promises to be an interesting game. I want to give the Gunners good credit this season. They've been fantastic. When I saw them play, I see that this team, one thing about failure is that it has a way of giving you motivation to always want to go further than what you've done before. Last season, we all came for them. I'm criticizing them as a bottling team, as a team that failed to take advantage. They've had a triple run of finishing second in the Premier League. In the last three seasons, they finished second. They are the eventual champions. Exactly the first, when Man City won that last two Premier League games in the last two seasons. But this time around also, the Gunners appear to be the most equipped team to win the league. Look at what Liverpool are doing. The defending champions are currently looking for oil in the eighth position. Manchester City may be the closest to Arsenal in terms of points, in terms of position on the table. They are second on the log. You cannot also trust them. But with the return of Alan into his beast form, you want to say Man City, you can't read them. But look at the teams that are vying for the title this season in the Premier League. Arsenal seems for me to be the most balanced team. Now, last year they struggled with squad depth. This time around, they have quality defenders on the bench. They have quality players on the pitch and also on the bench, which is a hallmark of a champion. If you want to win the league, you need to have a solid bench, because when you're playing 38 games in the league, playing other games in other competitions, you need solid bench. And the Gunners, they recruited well this season. They got in the likes of Eze, brought in Mosquera from Valencia, and like a lot of players. But look at the team now. They are not conceding goals. Maybe they are not scoring too much, but at least they are not conceding goals. And that's the bedrock of a team that wants to become a champion. So the Gunners, I'm going to be taking the Gunners for victory in that game against Tottenham. And we move on straight to the Italian Serie A, where we have the old lady, no, not the old lady, I beg your pardon, Inter Milan and AC Milan, one of the oldest rivalries in world football. Over the years, AC Milan seems to be struggling, but this season, with the appointment of Massimiliano Allegri, they've been able to find their feet again. They are currently among the table. They are currently among the title contenders in the league. Last season they struggled. In fact, I remember that the coach they sacked, is it Conceição now? They sacked him in December or January or so. So they have been struggling. But this time around, they seem to have found their way back. Inter Milan also, under Christian Chivu, they've enjoyed a good run of form. They didn't start the season well, but this time around, they've been able to find their feet. They've won 11 out of their last 12 games. That's massive, and they are, of course, on top of the Italian Serie A. Look, they are leading AS Roma on goal difference. Milan had the upper hand of this feature last season, going unbeaten in 5 games against the Nerazzurri in the Serie A. That means Inter Milan won all the 5 games they played last season, winning 2. But this season, the Rossoneri have not recorded a longer unbeaten run against their city rivals since enjoying a 10-match winning streak between November 2022 and April 2025. Milan have steadily improved under Allegri after going unbeaten in their last 11 games. So AC Milan have unbeaten in the last 11 games since losing to Cremonese in August. So that's 7 wins and 4 draws. Looking at their form, you want to say that they should give Inter Milan a run for their money. But Lautaro Martinez is on a good run of form, is one of the top scorers in this fixture. So you expect him to come to the party. And AC Milan also, there's also Christian Pulisic, who is one of their key players. We can't forget Rafael Leao, who is a good player on his own day. So this game is going to be a tough game because both sides are on a good run of form. You want to go for a draw in this game, but I'm going to be saying that if there's going to be a victory in this game, I'm going to be tilting towards Inter Milan because of the form they have shown over the last few games. It's going to be a game between two sides that are battling, especially AC Milan, battling to regain their status in Italian football. But this season promises to be very interesting. Napoli, AC Milan, Inter Milan, even AS Roma, they are also giving them a run for their money. So I want to see a league whereby towards the end of the season, we see go down to the wire in the Italian Serie A. We move on straight to Barcelona against Athletic Bilbao. Well, this is probably a mismatch in terms of form because Barcelona have been on a good run of form. They've been winning their games, but Bilbao have been struggling. In fact, they could have lost their last game in the league. They were on the 3-game losing streak before they won that last game before the international break. But this time around, they're playing against a Barcelona side who are going to be returning to the Camp Nou after spending 909 days away from the iconic stadium. So the Camp Nou is ready to host that game, even though it may not be at full capacity because Atletico Bilbao fans will not be allowed to be in the stadium because for safety reasons. But Barcelona have won 9 games and draw 1 and lost 2. And they are the highest scoring team in the La Liga this season with 32 goals. But they've also considered a whopping 15 goals. Defensively, Barcelona have not been able to find joy this season. They've not kept a clean sheet in their last 10 games in all competition. Atletico Bilbao also they are shot shy. They are not scoring goals. They are also struggling. Ernesto Valverde will be returning to Barcelona, but this game, there's Lamine Yamal. I expect him to be fully fit for that game. Lewandowski is also back, banging in goals. Ferran Torres also. Barcelona seems to be the toughest. Of course, you want to go for Barcelona in this game. So I'm going to tip Barcelona to win this game, and they are also second on the league. Atletico Bilbao sits 7th in La Liga with 5 wins, 2 draws, and 5 defeats. That's not a good run for its side in the Champions League. We move on then straight to Newcastle United versus Manchester. Another tough game in the Premier League this weekend is the game between Manchester City and Newcastle United. Newcastle United have been on a poor run of form in the Premier League this season, sitting 14th in the Premier League table. Wow, that's bad. Nobody's. I'm not sure anybody saw that coming. They've had only 12 points out of 14 games in the Premier League. Apparently, they're missing Isak, who joined Liverpool late in the summer. But Manchester City, you cannot rule them out. So this is a potential banana skin game for Man City. Newcastle United, you cannot guess the side that will show up, especially when they are playing against the big boys. Newcastle, Man City, Newcastle can come up and stun Manchester City. And Manchester City were kind of formed there before the international break. They defeated Liverpool 3-0 with an impressive performance in that game, with Jeremy Doku being the man of the match in that encounter, showing why he's regarded as one of Belgium's best players this season. But this time around, Newcastle United against Man City, Erling Haaland, a man who cannot stop scoring, has been on a good run of form this season, scoring 16 goals to lead Norway back to the World Cup after over 20 years of absence. And right now, also in this season, he's been bagging goals with a reckless abandon for club and country. When Haaland is on form, when he's on fire, when he's firing on all cylinders like this, Manchester City are difficult to stop. Fine, you want to say Man City have difficulties in their defense. Sometimes they can be a switch, a lapse in concentration defensively for Manchester City. But this time, when they are outscoring their opponents, then defensive problem might not be an issue. But if you can keep Alan quiet, then you can keep 80% of Manchester City's chances. You can stop them from scoring. But this game promises to be a very interesting one. Newcastle United, you don't know the side that will come up. Manchester City, they always go for the kill if they have the opportunity to do so. But this time, I think Man City may be too much for Newcastle United to handle in that game, because they also know that they need to build on the momentum of the win against Liverpool before the international break. Most teams struggle when they come back from international break because the players, some of them will be jet lagged, they may not have enough time to refresh and relax before the next game. But that's the nature of the job. You have to be ready every time to play football, because that's what they paid to do. Even though some of us do not agree with the fact that these players are playing too many games. But this game against Man City, Newcastle United under their coach, I believe that it's going to be a draw. I'm going for a draw in this game, or a slight win for Manchester City. Up next is the champions. This time around, Liverpool. They are walking alone. They've been walking alone with defeat. They're not only walking alone, they are walking alone with defeat. Everywhere they go, they are just pumping in for them. They are just chopping everything everywhere. It's just a chopper everywhere they be. Everywhere they go, it's just a chopper. Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest won their first game under Sean Dyche the weekend before the international break. After their struggling start to the season, they are currently seated 19th on the log. While Liverpool, they are looking for oil. They are currently seated 8th on the Premier League log. You see how time changes. Liverpool, by this time last season, they were taking teams out with reckless abandon. Now they are struggling, despite spending over £400 million on players, the likes of Visa, the likes of Ekitike. They brought in a lot of players, but they are struggling to win games. I remember at the beginning of the season, I was telling somebody that the way Liverpool were scoring, they were making it late until late minutes of the games to score winning goals. I was saying that this thing will still come back to hurt them. And now they are even struggling to get goals. They are struggling to keep games going. They are losing games in the Premier League. They also lost in the Champions League. So you want to ask yourself, maybe the minute they break the international week break will probably come fast for them. And let's see if they have been able to pick one or two lessons during the international break. But Arne Slot is under pressure. He knows that he needs to arrest this poor form. If not, I don't know, Liverpool, maybe it's not in their culture to sack a coach in the season. But if this continues, you cannot spend over 400 million pounds in the summer, and then your team is struggling like this. It's not acceptable. Fans will soon begin to call. If they don't change, fans will soon begin to call for their head. And now we are moving close into the festive period where we're having games thick and fast. in the Champions League, in the Premier League, you play games. So now they need to arrest their form. And this is not a team that have got a lot of quality on the bench. If you spend over 400 million pounds on such on players without having enough quality players on the bench to replace the ones that are starting the games. Mohamed Salah unapologetically has been terrible this season. He's not been able to find his form of last season. So now they need to find something to do about that. Ekitike, of course, he started well and he's still doing well, but Isaac has not. Apparently, is that lack of match fitness that he's still a problem for him. He's not fit, and he's not been able to get on to show what he can do. Pressure. These players are also under pressure because they cost a lot of money, and then there's a pressure to deliver from the fans, even from their teammates. But this game is going to be a tough one. It's just like a team in 19 against a team in 8. Liverpool on a normal day, if they are able to get their hearts together, they shouldn't have problem taking care of Nottingham Forest, especially at Anfield. But Nottingham Forest also, they know that they are down, but they are not out. They need to also ensure they win to get their momentum back after winning their last game before the international break against Leeds United. So this time around is a tough game, and you want to say that Liverpool are the favourites, of course. The champions, when you're playing against the champions, they are the favourites. But in this kind of game, maybe your form is important for you. It's not only about being a big team, being a team with quality players. It has to do with what you can do on the pitch of play. If they come to the pitch of play, and I believe Nottingham Forest will want to target Liverpool's poor defense. Defense level, Liverpool have not been so solid this season. The likes of Konate, whenever he wants to have a good game, he goes into it and have a good game. Whenever he wants to have a stinker, he produces a stinker with everything inside of him. So now, defensively, I believe Nottingham Forest will want to target them. But Liverpool also, they know that if all the attackers get their A game to the table, they shouldn't have problem taking care of Nottingham Forest. This is how much we can go this weekend, and I hope that you enjoy all the games that I've highlighted in this video. And you can also go to the comment section. I also drop the game you're also looking forward to this weekend across Europe, across in the Premier League, in the I almost said the MPFL, in the Italian Serie, in the French League, in the Bundesliga. Just let me know the games you're looking forward to. You can also drop your predictions in the comment section. Don't always forget to like, to subscribe, and also share this video far and wide. Thank you, and have a pleasant weekend. Enjoy the Premier League and other European leagues.